first ever offline Talking Tech. We have a very special guest. He is an engineer at Microsoft. He was the founder of R&D. He was a previous ACM secretary, and most notably, he's one of my closest friends. Everyone, please welcome Nishant Puri to the podcast.
Hi everyone. Thank you for that too elaborate of an introduction. Um, before the podcast actually starts, I just like to say that the team who has organized this, I'm actually really proud of them because last year when I was the chief, I got the opportunity to work with all of them. So whatever ACM is right now and will be in the future, it's all because of these guys. So a round of applause for these guys as well. So yeah.
So, I think firstly, I would like to say that the vibe that we want to keep in this podcast is informal, so we do not want any like very formally stuff here. So, I would just like you to define how your journey has been from when you joined the college to ACM Head and also Microsoft in between. How was the entire experience, and what all did you learn from it?
All right. So I'll try not to bore anyone with the details of where I worked or what did I do. But again, so in 2018, I started as any first year starts with a lot of hopes and no idea where to start. So my start was from a recommendation for everyone as well. Watch good TV series. My start for everything was Sherlock. I got pretty curious about stuff because of it. So that's also one of the reasons I went into cybersecurity, but that's for a later discussion. So in first year, I just started out with whatever everyone was doing, C, C++, and I thought that's the way to go. All right. I didn't have an idea of where should I start with myself. So first semester passes and in December I decide to try something different. So that's the first time I actually had my mom's laptop, which I used for coding for the first 2 semesters. And that was the first time I tried to dual boot Linux into a Windows system.
It was your mom's laptop?
Yeah, and I ended up deleting the whole Windows partition. So that was a nightmare back then because I remember clearly the day I did that. I ran upstairs to my bedroom and then came back down, and then I was like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "There's no point in doing anything." So I just told कि ये आपका data उड़ गया है सारा. So that was the first step in a series of events I call my technical mishaps. So I'll tell more on the way. So that was the first time I thought like, yeah, I can mess up tech bad. But that was no motivation to get anywhere. All right. Then I tried a bit of Java in December. I actually, the main reason for doing that was everyone was doing a lot of things. So I just wanted to flex what I was doing. So I took a screenshot of that system.out hello world and I just put it on my WhatsApp status that हाँ मैं Java कर रहा हूँ. And it was like, oh my god, Nishant is doing Java. So, and that is where I stopped with Java. That was the end of Java. I did not pursue Java.
Just the hello world?
Yeah, just the hello world. And I was like, it's getting too complex for me. So, second semester rolls around and we get a lot of different subjects. So, again, I didn't pay a lot of attention because I was just busy with the college stuff, if you know what I mean, like interpersonal college stuff, making friends and stuff like that.
You can say it, dude.
I really don't want to, but still, okay. I hope everyone gets the point over here. So after that comes along the summer break, and me and my best friend, so Akshat Abhi, so he's in Amex right now, and we decide that we're supposed to do something now because a year from now we'll be having our internships and all. So we start doing something like interview bit, and we start one question, and apparently till this date that question hasn't been solved. So interview bit does send me reminders like, do you want a job? Do you need to solve this question or not? There's an array question that's still pending. So I put it in spam, but still. So after that, I delved a bit into Android app development. Now, one of the major learnings that I've experienced throughout my journey is the capacity and ability to learn. And more importantly is the way I learn. All right. So earlier in 2019 summer break, I was a perfectionist. I wanted to complete every single video in that course, and then I thought that would be the end of it. I would know all of what it is to be an Android developer. Turns out that wasn't true, and sadly that was in Java, so I had to try Java again. But again, I stopped with Hello World, but this time it was on an Android app, so I was pretty proud of that. The UI we have for a Hello World. So that happened, and then I worked on my first project with a professor in PEC only. Akshit and I were fortunate enough to get a chance to work with him, and that was a project in C++, bare C++, where we worked in creating a code plagiarism solution. So just detecting if code is copied or not. Oh, no way. It did not work. We were told that it might be used later on for students' assignments, but then yeah, so we were told like if this is good enough, so it will be used, but it never passed that good enough barrier, and it never got completed, so that never got used.
How do you even go about making a code plagiarism check? Because there's two levels of abstraction, right? So you have the code that goes in, and then there's something that also checks said code, which is probably in like what, text form.
Yeah, that's fair. So what we did was we took actually C files as a reference that everyone would be submitting this C files, and we converted every word in those C files, every string in those C files into tokens, and we matched the number of tokens in two consecutive files. And you were like, if the number of tokens is same, then there is a plagiarism. So from a research point, it was a good project because that is one way of checking plagiarism, but there's more advanced ways. Just like there was a model of the atom which was like the dots and everywhere, but and then they like the electron clouds and stuff. So that was like the dots model, what we made for plagiarism. It's pretty bare bones. What happened after that is we spent a third semester building up that project, and then we were like, yeah, let's try entrepreneurship, but we did not have an idea. Yeah, as one does. We were like, yeah, we made a project. So we were so secretive about that project. Like from our closest friends, we tried to hide that project. Every time we went for the meeting, we were like, we're not going to talk about this project. हम नहीं cover कर रहे हैं इस पे काम. But that was not a good idea for sure, because the more the people were there, it could have been a better project. But a learning there was we did not know anything at all. Like we did not know web or app development. So we made a project from C++. So can anyone else. You can just take any one language that you know, and then just go ahead with learning it or developing upon it. So just take C++ or Python and develop the whole world out of it. So that is a learning that you could take away from that.
This was all in second semester?
Yeah, this was in my second semester and the summer break after that second semester. So that is when we did all of this. Then rolls around third semester when we thought of starting entrepreneurship, but we did not have an idea. So we were just making plans of how much share we'll hold in whatever company we build. And we also fought on it a couple of times on the basis of equity. And that is when our business also went down because it never existed. So we did a lot of stuff like that, like as kids do. And then reality struck when my CG went to an all-time low. It was around, I still remember, 7.67 or so. So that was an all-time low. And yeah, that was
probably higher than mine.
I can see a lot of people over here. Like, anyways, so that was an all-time low for me, and I was like really crestfallen, really bad, really in a bad shape after that. Then I decided I need to start out something. I need to focus better on my studies. The moment I started to focus better on my studies, COVID came, so I wasn't get a chance to showcase my studies. But that apart, so 2019 December was a turning point where I decided to bring some change in the way I did stuff in my career and in my college as well. So I decided to not focus on just planning stuff and start executing stuff. And that is the first time I saw a YouTube video about ethical hacking. So my friend again introduced me to it. He was like, ethical hacking karte hain, try. And that was the first time I came to know about a certain beautiful operating system called Kali Linux, which is kind of like the bread and butter for an ethical hacker. It's debatable, but still, it's a lot of people use it. Yeah, I've tried installing Parrot, but it never works out. But that's another story. So that happened, and then later on we had a fourth semester. I started focusing on my studies, and COVID struck. So when COVID struck, everything was pushed to a halt. No one knew what to do. Everyone thought like internships लगेंगी नहीं, companies आएंगी कि नहीं. So everyone purchased a course of coding ninjas, which I also did. Like everyone was doing. So I started it about a month late, and I started going through it. What I did right, I believe, with that course was whatever question or video there was, I made it sure that I understood what the crux of it was. All right, my pace was slow, but I still understood every part of that course or video. So once that happened, I got a chance to apply for this certain internship called the Gurugram Police Cybersecurity Summer Internship. It was the 8th batch of it, and it was under our mentor, like Dr. Rakshit Tandon, who's the one of the top cyber experts in the country. So I applied for it, I got selected, and there started a very different journey. There I developed the sense of learning and focus. I saw people from who are experts in their fields, who are earning like crazy, who have everything that a college kid could dream of. But then they come in on the platform and they're like, I'm still learning, I'm still not an expert. And that really hit me because it's like a punch in the gut. Like reality struck me कि यार इतना भी किया है, I'm not that much, and I need to stay humble and proceed with the work I'm doing. So as that internship happened, I developed my first good project, which was a URL detection app which detected malicious URLs, and I used that application wherever I had for interviews and all. So 1 month I spent on that internship. I loved that internship thoroughly. Role then the code was still there, but then we got an information that we'll get our companies for internships. So that was a scary time. I thought I should not even appear for an internship because I was not prepared. Again, that perfectionist mindset कि मैं courses सारे कर लूँ and उसके बाद I'll appear. But then my sister was like,
I think we're missing a very important key point.
Yeah.
Because of which a lot of us here are in this room right now. Going back to your fourth semester, right? You just glossed over R&D, bro.
oh, okay, I guess I did.
So a little bit of pre-context here. R&D was a small individual group founded by Nishant and friends, right? Some of those people are our mentors, our friends, and they're passed out now. Just they're from Nishant's batch. But it was a magical thing that happened that we found in our second semester, and we were at that point not very fascinated with what ACM was doing, and in comes this brand new group called R&D, who was, they're discussing very interesting ideas about cybersecurity, which is something that nobody ever even talked about. And you were here telling us there is a way for you to get into it, right?
Right, that's
I
true.
I still don't know everything about it, like how the idea came about. So if you can talk a little more about that.
All right. So as Will Smith says, it's rewind time. So I did I just make that joke bad? Anyway, so going back to around.
Fine, it's Will Smith, dude. He slap people. So
uh, all right. So going back to around December of 2019 all over again, right? I guess that was the time. So I had applied for this program called the Microsoft Student Partner Program, where you become a student ambassador for Microsoft. You progress through stages. You give out sessions on Microsoft technologies and products and whatever you're interested in tech, and build a community around it. So in 2019, the end of 2019, I actually gave my first session um, where a bunch of juniors when the then first yearites and a couple of my classmates joined that session. So one takeaway from this would be that there's no harm in at least trying to approach someone for a session. I'm grateful for Ritesh Goyal, who was the ACM head. Then I told him like I am the student partner and I want to try out something, and he paved the way for me to get into that public speaking area, to present myself, to present my work that I was doing as an MSP. And that was the first step, right? That is where it all started. So I gave that first session. I just talked about what the MSP program is, what benefits you have out of it, and how you can progress in it. A couple of people joined a group. We created a WhatsApp group out of it. We did not have any idea where this would go. So comes around January of 2020, and we create a larger group. So two other friends of mine, they also joined the MSP program by then, and they also become MSPs. So to have another session, we have a larger session then with first yearites and second yearites. And in that meeting where we have that first yearites, we devise of an idea, which was, what if this group could create something different? What if this group worked on things that no one ever works on? Or what if we could try out something that no one ever has? Because we never saw anyone working on areas like cybersecurity or ML or gaming. People did it on a personal basis, on an individual basis, but never as a group. And that was the very simple idea, very trivial idea, but we spoke about it and a lot of people resonated with it. They were like, yeah, we could try this out. And from that, a group formed where we had regular meets. In fact, I do remember one instance where I was sitting with these first yearites telling them about the Hacker One, which is a website where you can learn CTFs and all. I was sitting with them and telling how you do a basic CTF type of event where, and that moment I realized, if I can tell these guys this much at this level of knowledge that I am, we do need to expand. And secondly, I have potential of reaching out to a lot more people. That was the start of everything. Then we created a group for app dev. We decided to create apps for the whole of PEC. Then we had a group for web dev. We had one for gaming and one for ML. So we had different groups working in a collective fashion. We had meetings where we discussed about stuff, and then we coalesced and shared our ideas together. We created a Discord server out of it, but that had its own up and downs. So not a lot of people did not use it. One good thing that came out of it is that these guys were in first year, and they had pretty much nothing to do in their first year, summer break, especially when COVID hit. And I believe that that work that went into creating R&D helped them to find a passion in tech, which was the purpose of R&D. And most of these people who are in R&D right now are pretty awesome in whatever they do. They're kind of like at the peak of what they should be in college. All right. And whole credit goes to them for that, for taking that initiative to join us. So that was the start of what was R&D. At one point, I decided that R&D should replace ACM, but then they were like, "Nahi, aisa nahi hota. You can't do stuff like that." I actually told them ki, like, we could create two competing groups and destroy the other one. But then I talked to Arihant, actually, brilliant guy. So he told me like, "Nahi, aisa nahi hota. You can't do stuff like this." So like, can we merge into you guys? And then he's like, yes. That is where I also started contributing to ACM in my second year, so to say. So we're now at 2020 and mid of 2020, and now come around the companies, and my sister tells me कि नहीं तुझे बैठना पड़ेगा exams internships के लिए. So I do sit for the internships. Then Microsoft comes along. Fortunately, I get selected. It was a whole process of it. Once that happens, I decide that now is the time that I focus better on my studies, because which I was neglecting for past 4 semesters. Basically, half of my college degree was spent in not focusing on my grades, so to say, which is something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't focus a lot on your grades, but there's a certain grade point that you need to achieve and be greater than to get through a lot of cutoffs.
I think a lot of the reason why you let the grades slide a little bit was because of COVID.
No, not really. Like, I actually improved upon the grades after COVID, right? During and after COVID, right? Before COVID, there were multiple reasons for letting my grades slide away. But after that was just a realization that I really need to work hard on my grades to get anywhere. So comes around fifth semester, we have a couple of subjects, we try again. I get .8 CG, 8.00 CG, which is like perfect for me, like improvement hui hai. So then comes my internship, which was kind of eye-opening for me, because this was completely new area. I worked in a corporate for the first time. I understood how those guys work. That was the first time I came to know that there's something called augmented learning, where you learn while you're working. You pick up a project, you think you don't know anything about it, you search up the things that make the basics of it, build it, get stuck, search again, build it. That's how you learn. And that was the reason I progressed a lot in those 6 months. What I also did was I started maintaining a diary of my monthly learnings, which is a recommendation I give now and then to every junior key. Just maintain a diary of what you're doing. So when you look back at it in retrospect, you're like, "हाँ यार कुछ achieve किया." So then you can move ahead with that motivation. All right, and that comes to the end of third year, and then it was this fourth year ACM and the cyber internship. I could go on and on. It's a long story, but I don't want it to take the most of the podcast. So yeah.
I would also like to mention how he was mentoring his juniors.
Yeah. That I believe that, so it wasn't like out of कि हाँ मतलब specially करना जाके, it's actually my duty towards you guys. It's my due diligence towards you guys, because I believe that I'm not at all different from any of the first, second, or third year right now. I'm basically just 1 year older than you. That is the only difference I'm at right now. It's just that since you are 1 year younger than me, I have a duty to make sure that you do not make the mistakes I did, and I help you out through the situations that I can help you out with. So it comes out of a sense of responsibility and duty that I decided to help you guys, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of the journey as well.
You know, over time, obviously, everybody changes, but throughout college, there were two things that were my constants. During COVID, like this might be a little too candid, but I kept swaying away and away from college, and the only thing that would really keep me there was R&D, and more importantly, it was the fact that you were always the same, right? So I could always rely on you for whatever problems I had, little, big, whatever level, right? So obviously now I find myself in a place that you have left, right? Whether it be PEC, fourth year, ECM, right? So what are your insights that only somebody in your position could have understood that you would like to share with anybody else?
All right. So in a position of, I guess this has multiple set of answers, right? So I guess I'll talk about in terms of, say, the head of ACM. All right. So some things that I figured out that someone else may or may not have figured out. One thing is people have potential. All right. It's a huge thing. So eventually you'll become a leader. And in fact, everyone has the capacity to lead a group. You lead a group in whatever you do. You say just playing a game of PUBG or Mini Militia or Fortnite. You're still leading your team, right? People may not think of it as leading a company or something, but it's still leading. It takes responsibility and ownership to lead a team. It takes efforts to do that. So wherever you go in life, you'll need to lead some kind of a group. That you need to work under a certain kind of a group, and then you'll also need to lead some kind of a group. So as a leader of this group, one thing I realized was I was a perfectionist before my 4 years. Some traces of that are still in me, but a lot of it has gone away. I was a perfectionist. I was like, there's only one person who can do it, and that was me. One thing that leads to is stress. Second thing that leads to is way less than good work. All right. Yeah, as a perfectionist, you want to get something good done, but the irony is you can never get it good. All right, and it's probably even worse than than anyone else would have done it. So what the thing over here is that people have a lot of potential. Leverage that potential. To leverage that potential, you need to do just one thing: is give them a chance. All right. Those people were there, you were there in their shoes just a couple of months, weeks, or even a year ago. Understand that you came from there. All right. And that person is there right now, so give him a chance to explore that. You got your chance, and it's your duty to make sure that person has their own chance to develop. If you cut the person out of that chance, then you're not it's not harming anyone. It's just that you're not paying your due diligence ahead. All right. In fact, as a leader, I also saw people doing a lot of remarkable stuff that I could never have thought of. So a drawback of being a perfectionist is that it kills your creativity, and you do not know a lot of stuff which you could implement. The reason ACM is what it is today is because of a lot of people that contributed to it. Had they not been there, had their ideas not been there, had their ideas not been executed, it would not have ever existed. So yes, a leader is the face of whatever you're working with. Say it's a company or it's a team, the leader is the face of it. But it takes a lot of effort of a lot of other people to materialize whatever you're working on. That's how even a corporate works, right? Even if you want to get a product or some rollout of a service or something, a lot of developers come into picture over there, and not even developers who are actively working on it. It's developers who are creating those libraries from the back end, or the people who worked on it 20 years before, who create that basic thing. It's just that be happy that you're standing on the giant, on the shoulders of giants, and they are there to take you ahead, and it's your responsibility to help other people ahead who are not at that stage as that you are. So that is a learning as an ACM Khalid. And yeah, my insights as a fourth yearite or someone who was in PEC in fourth year were pretty much similar to what everyone would experience. So there's nothing there that I could tell that would be different. It's just that I would want you to experience yourself without any spoilers being given by me. So experience that firsthand, and you're like, this is this. The end of it is you just enjoy the fact that you are get to experience that. So that's one thing out of it. Yeah.
That was an amazing answer. I mean, felt like I'm
You
listening
know what?
to
I'm actually
really.
surprised at myself that I gave that
No,
answer.
you articulate really well.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that well.
No,
You
thanks.
have your chance, bro.
No pressure.
Probably the glasses right now.
So this was all about your college journey. So how has life changed after you have started working at Microsoft? What all new things, new experiences are you gaining now?
Hmm. It's a good question, actually.
You like the new money.
That's good. Money is important. You need that, all right, to sustain your uh, passion to some extent. Not always, but in some cases, I believe to sustain your passion or sustain your goals in life, you need money. But that's a different philosophical question altogether. What's changed? My work ethic has drastically changed. So work was not that serious when I was in college. It was everything was pretty chill. All right, I was just enjoying my time. I'm still enjoying my time, but I now have responsibility for the work I do. It's actual work that could actually empower people or impact people. So that's one thing that has happened. First of all, I have that sense of being part of a group that is creating something that could help other people in whatever way possible. So that is one thing. In corporate, I see a lot of people doing a lot of work, especially when they have a lot of personal responsibilities as well. So one thing that is going away from me is that feeling of complaining that much about my situation. Throughout college and a little after that, we tend to get into a habit of cribbing or complaining कि यार हमारी situation ही बहुत खराब है कि we don't have the opportunity to do this, or we don't have the resources to do this, or stuff like that. We don't have the time to do this effectively. But I've seen people with families also, and them spending more than 8 to 10 hours working on something that is really important over there, and that is what really motivates me. All right, it's like they're putting extra effort to make sure that that their solutions get into the picture. And I am just a college graduate, right? I have no responsibilities at all. I don't have to, like, with the basic family responsibilities and all, I don't have a lot of them. So I could put that effort into it, which is something that I'm learning right now. Just putting extra effort into the work I'm doing. So that's one thing. Other things that have changed is a bit of my time management. So in corporate, you need to learn how to multitask and work parallelly. All right. I used to be a single track mind. I just pick up a task, get to the end of it, and then chill. After that, start another task. But you see throughout the way agile works, agile is a software engineering process. All right, the way agile works, the way sprints work, you see that you need to complete tasks parallelly. You cannot create blockers for others, and you cannot stop at blockers that are created for you. You need to pick up other tasks so that the work gets to completion. right? Otherwise the work doesn't get completed, and that's the main job you're doing over there. The work needs to get completed. So parallelism is important, but I believe, as a college student, you might not have much opportunity to learn it, or you might not have much exposure to learn it. All right, it's just that you're not in that situation or that tense of a situation or important of a situation to learn parallelism or augmented learning. So let things be. When you go into a corporate, you'll eventually learn it. All right. Otherwise, if you do want to learn it, take up two projects at once and then work on it side by side. Let's see how that goes. So
Switching context is, I think, really hard, especially if you're first learning it. Because I genuinely don't think humans can multitask. You can just focus and then shift and focus on something else.
that's fair. Yep, exactly. So you can't multitask. And when I meant multitask, is like shifting your focus rapidly between other part. It's like you cannot develop a mentality where you're just sitting on one task and then just having a laid back attitude and sitting out of it कि बाद में कर लेंगे यार. नहीं, you have to do the other tasks as well. So that is multitasking while also focusing on the task at hand. So that is the one of the biggest things that I've learned, and that is actually pretty good for me. So yeah.
You mentioned that you learn about cybersecurity and also leadership a lot in your college days. So how did that transfer into your corporate working, and how is it helping you in your day-to-day activities there?
All right. Okay. So the learnings from college to corporate, I would say, again, yes and no situation, because first, I've never thought about it that way. Second, having thought about it right now, is that college mein a couple of things that I did was trying to maintain some kind of a work ethic, which is a recommendation for everyone. Try to build some kind of an affinity to working, because eventually you'll need to do that. It's not just एग्जाम्स में हमारी आदत क्या होती है, वी spend the last 2 weeks on taking up a textbook or whatever video we have, going through it. Once that is done, we just spit it out on in during the exam, and that is the end of it, because that is short term information, and that information helps you, all right, you get a CG out of it, उसका रिटर्न है information का. But इसका रिटर्न लॉन्ग टर्म में नहीं है. Why? Because you think about it, for 8 semesters you're just spending your time on uh, taking a textbook, taking some kind of information, putting it in your system, spitting it out, and then forgetting about it. In the net, you're still at zero because you haven't learned something out of it. Why is it recommended to have projects or collaborations or be a part of communities? Is that those things add up. All right. So when you work on a project or be a part of a community, you get a chance to create experiences for yourself. You get a chance to create difficult situations for yourself, which you solve. For example, consider something as simple as, like, I broke my mom's laptop, all right, by doing some dual boot something, all right. It's a very simple process, all right. You just need to install something and it goes bad. But the learning out of that was the learning out of that was key. There exists something called grub in a computer which I can use, right? So that I learned, and I remembered that during my hacking days as well. So the thing is कि I developed a work ethic of creating issues while coding and resolving those issues. So it's helping me in the corporate now. Whenever a bug comes up for me, I know कि I need to put effort into it, and it's kind of like second nature to me to go through the depth of it, right? It's not like कि मेरे को अलग से effort डालना पड़ा. It's just habit बन गई है to go through the depth of an issue, figure it out, and then solve it. So that's a good thing that came out of it. So develop some kind of affinity towards working and figuring out issues, all right, because that is a long term learning. जब खुद प्रोजेक्ट बनाओगे, खुद उसको मैसअप करोगे, then you'll realize, हाँ shit, I could have done this in this way, or I could have done this better. That learning will stick with you, all right. From leadership, to become a leader, I had to take initiatives. I had to go through a certain um, set of people. I had to talk to people out of my way कि यार I want to do this event, or I want to talk to you. I had to shed away my ego or my shyness to ask people. This is what I'm doing now as well. I go to people कि यार मेरे से solve नहीं हो रहा, I need help with this. And there I get insight on what they think. उनकी thought process पता चलती है. So that is something that is important, all right? I am being open to other people's perspectives when they are juniors to you helps a lot, because then you get into a habit of listening to other people no matter who it is, all right? So that is something that kind of helped me. So those are the things that helped me in my corporate life. Yep, good answer, thank God.
That was a lot to take in, by the way.
Yeah.
The way this podcast is going, I'm so motivated to do even more of them.
We'll start 7 different projects all at once. Learn how to manage everything together.
I don't know if we'll be getting as awesome people as him again.
Oh, come on. But as you mentioned, like picking up 7 different projects or something, that seems like an absurd concept, and that is also unachievable. All right, you can't do it. But that is unachievable because मैंने बोला है, all right, या फिर this guy told it, this guy told it, all right. It's not unachievable for you. You haven't experienced how 7 projects feel like. You haven't experienced how it feels to make a project, break it down and realize, oh shit, मेरा college की assignment भी तो पड़ी है, oh shit, मेरा ये भी तो काम पड़ा. So that is what I'd recommend, because you have no responsibility right now to do anything at all. So do as many things as you can, fail as many things as you can at all the time. Of course, by like being smart about it, you can't continue failing at your college subjects or something. All right, you need to maintain a fair enough CG. But other than that, बाकी चीजों में try multiple things. What's the worst? नहीं कर पाओगे सारी, and then you realize कि you only need to work on one thing at once. That impact जो उस चीज का पड़ेगा would be way better than someone telling you कि नहीं एक चीज पे ही काम कर, because उस चीज से regret रहेगा कि यार try नहीं करी बाकी चीजें, right?
Oh, that's a very important insight. Almost anything that is worth observing or something that people enjoy, that's something people look up to, comes after repeated failures and also the chance to fall back and then bounce back up.
That's fair. Totally agree. Because at this stage, even if you fail at creating your project of, say, like creating a startup of, say, like Dunzo type ka kaam karne ka, if that fails, there's nothing to lose, dude. You haven't put in any effort over here. That could take away everything from you. All right. You're just a college kid who tried out something जिसका नहीं काम किया. उसका जो experience add होएगा is profound. That would help you throughout your life. But just try it out. There's no reason that you should stop from trying multiple things at once. Eventually you should also try to focus on one thing that you'd figured out of those multiple things कि इसमें interest ज़्यादा आ रहा है, then dial in over there, because you need to build up that skill as well. So yeah.
One kind of experiment that I'm recalling from this, that you should, instead of trying to be a perfectionist, you should try and repeat things and see what works. I read this about I read somewhere about this, that in a photography class, the professor divided the class into 2 halves, and they asked that one half should click as many pictures as they can, and they would be graded on the basis of that, and the other half would be graded on the best photo that they can click. And at the end, the people who were clicking more photos, they got better shots than the one who were being rewarded for good shots, because they were just trying to get as many shots as they wanted, and they were getting better at it because of multiple attempts. And these guys were trying to be that perfectionist, and they could not get enough of a practice to get that good shots.
It's actually awesome. Like, that's a pretty good story. So thank you for sharing that. I'll implement that in my life as well. Not that I've heard of it, but that's effectively it. Try it out. There's no reason you should not try it out. All right.
Yes. So on a lighter note, what are some of the funny incidents from your college life?
So, what do you want to know? Something that blew up in your face? Something
Yo.
new you tried, but it just did not go as expected.
Huh. All right.
Technical mishaps.
Any kind of
Technical mishaps. So I'll go through a list of technical mishaps first, and like none of those are like, I'm not sure even if they are funny or so, and a couple of funny ones I can't say, right? So
Yeah.
You can tell that to us. We can
yeah,
edit
I
it out
could
later on.
tell that to you guys, but not on never on camera. So not telling that right now. But in terms of technical mishaps, if you want to know, um, so I guess today marks my second month where I've on my personal laptop I've had to factory reset it because I've downloaded a couple of things that have made my laptop go bad. Or so what I've tried for the past 2 months is to dual boot my laptop. Very unsuccessfully, I've tried that. So once you dual boot, going a little bit nerdy now, it goes into something called a grub, where I guess it selects the operating system from a list of operating systems you have and then boots into it. All right. I've This has happened twice to me that I've reached a state where the grub can't find Windows or the Linux that I've installed, and that's a sad state to be in because then like, oh shit, that is the moment you realize you could do a lot of stuff with your life, and you want to do a lot of stuff in your life. Like wo moments the, yeah, exactly. Like I was trying to run Windows or Linux, and then I was like, yaar main apni life mein, what if I could be a writer right now? What if I could use Microsoft Word and be like J.K. Rowling and write some beautiful story or something? Then I was like, I could produce music out of something, and then like, but then मैं लैपटॉप खोलता हूँ तो वो ग्रब लोडर है, so I can't do anything out of it. So then I take out a weekend or long night or one long nighter, and then I put effort into it, and then it gets resolved, and then I'm too exhausted to try out जो भी मैंने सोचा था उससे पहले book वगैरह लिखने का. So all those plans go in vain. All right, and this is the second time this has happened for some reason. But now hopefully my laptop is okay, and I am now working with virtual machines, which is a way better option if you do not want to mess up your laptop. So, but do try dual booting a laptop at least once in your life. Make sure you have backup of Windows वगैरह सारा है, because eventually you might need to clear out everything. But try dual booting. It's worth it. Actually, it's not worth it, but still try it. There's no harm in
It's
doing it.
worth it, but with like an asterisk.
Yeah, this is like a terms and conditions apply. So you don't need to read that because
This is so weirdly funny because you're the person who introduced me to virtual machines for pen testing.
yeah,
Kali, so making virtual machines on VirtualBox, and here you are.
yeah, and it's just like feels cool to have a dual
Yeah.
boot, and like every time I do a dual boot, I'm like, हाँ आज तो कुछ किया है. Then it gets messed up and like, oh shit, never doing this again. Then it's just 1 week later, I'm trying, हाँ आज तो KD neon का dual boot, and then again gets messed up. But try it. Dual booting is worth trying. All right. Then a couple of other random mishaps is I've happened to run codes like recursion on my laptop that have caused my laptop to crash,
Oh no.
which is very weird. Uh,
You screen of death.
yeah, I know. Actually, no. For some reason, that recursion code started deleting all my files on my laptop. So it's just very random stuff that I've done on my laptop, and very innocuous, harmless codes. Just a recursion of plus plus something something, and then it deletes everything. So stuff like this happens all the time. Once I was what was I doing? So once I was going ahead with that, making an application or something for my cybersecurity internship. So I created an application out of it. I like learned Flutter in a week or so, like just did a crash course, got into it, got out of it, and made something which is looked like an application. So the best part of it was like वो चल रही थी application, and the moment you closed it, did not close, it actually crashed. But there was no error when you actually ran it on your phone, and the friends of mine whom I showed it to, they were like, "यार इसका close बहुत तेज होता है ये." And I was like, "That's a feature, dude." And that was the best moment of my life because I sold them a feature that they thought like ये क्या हो रहा है, but then I'm like, नहीं ये feature है, ये ऐसे ही चलता है. Like, and they actually said that in a presentation कि like अगर आपको जल्दी से app बंद करनी हो, so you can close it very quickly. They just try to market it as a feature, and like ये मत बोलो. But stuff like this happens. So those are technical funny incidents and other.
Isn't there a quote that says every bug is a feature?
Yeah. That's meme is also there from the office. Like you're shaking your hand with the manager. He's like, you create an app that closes it, but it's like crashes it actually. But that apart, so these are random funny incidents in tech that have happened. इसके अलावा funny incidents are I can't tell because of their nature, their explicit nature, which I've done with my friends. But some of them involve college में ही being a part of college activities. All right, so which are very random, very cringe actually when I think about it. There are those incidents that I wake up to 3 a.m. In the night and like, oh shit, ये क्यों किया था? But there are multiple of those, especially in my speaking session in the last year. I must have done a couple of things, like said a couple of things, like, oh shit, I should not have made this joke. This was a bad joke. So yes. Yeah. Not cancel. It's just so cringe that I've said it, but chalo, theek hai. Anyway, so that's a couple of things that have happened.
What do you think? What are your technical concepts? What are your technical concepts?
I can very much relate to that dual bootup thing.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times, and I've ended up like removing one of the OS. I mean, it's mostly Linux part, which is Windows. And
You can't say that.
I guess all three of us have had that same experience. I I was dual booting Windows 11 with Linux Mint. Worked perfectly for a year. Gorgeous. And then something in my brain said, why not triple boot it?
Ooh.
At तीर लेने में, I lost both of my devices. And I was left with one single beautiful looking Linux Mint. That was it. None of my files. बस backup और ही लेता है.
Okay.
Backup, take backups.
Yeah.
Single backup.
Like since I'm in cybersecurity, it's my duty to tell you, make sure you take regular backups
Yes.
of your phone and your laptop. So do that.
Would that go on ACM t-shirts, right?
Yeah,
Take
take
backups.
backup. That I recommend that highly. Like ACM ka logo hटाओ, just put it take backup and
And
stuff.
also, no, I can't fix your Wi-Fi.
That has happened to me actually. Like I can't fix your Wi-Fi. Like, so recently only like, some guy was there to fix our Wi-Fi at my place, and I was working on my laptop for my corporate work only, and then my dad is like, यार तू इनके जैसा क्यों नहीं बनता? He's fixing our Wi-Fi, and can you?
It's actually useful.
And I'm like, no, I cannot. But ये भी तो काम कर रहा हूँ मैं. ठीक है, but ये तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ. So that happens.
Wait, so are you in the cybersecurity division of Microsoft?
No, I'm actually not. I'm actually in a division called supply chain engineering. So Microsoft has a whole supply chain of devices, and there's a specific area in supply chain where it's responsible for the manufacture and repair of devices, and we enable software and automations to facilitate that space in Microsoft. So that is where I work right now, and I'm loving the work. I've worked in during my internship as well, and it's a lot of learnings that are happening over there. So a lot of effort I'm putting over there, and the learning curve is going up and up. So that's something to really look forward to. Yeah.
He is indirectly fixing people's Wi-Fi by building that supply chain.
I sure hope I do. Yeah. Oh God, I don't want to think about what my dad said about fixing Wi-Fi. Anyways.
Do you have any regrets about your college life? That
Hmm.
I wanted to do this or something like
Um, you know what? That is a question that I've pondered upon since my second year, because we were of the thought कि यार regrets नहीं रहने चाहिए life में, सारा college life experience कर लेना चाहिए. And fortunately, there are none. All right, I've experienced the highs and lows of college, from CGs to relationships, highs and lows of everything I've experienced. And along with that, I've experienced being in the following position as also the giving position. I've been at the scolding end and at the end of scolding other people. I've been at the end of where I have been reprimanded for not working good enough, and I've also been at the end where I've been praised for working very good. So it's just that there is a sine curve always, and I'm glad that in my 4 years I was able to complete that whole sine curve of those experiences. So yeah, it's been a good college life. Only regret would be the 2 years that went into COVID. I so wish we had time to, we could rewind time and go back to those days and live those 2 years in college. But that's not under anyone's control. So there is, frankly, like, fortunately, no regret at this point, and I'm glad I had those experiences which I had in those 4 years. So yeah.
And the last thing you said about the fact that nobody could do anything about COVID, it's something that I think most of us are collectively coming to accept. What we missed out on is
Right.
not something that we're responsible.
That's fair. Yeah, it's true. And it's the thing, right? Because everyone was sharing that experience, so it makes it a little less tense and less maddening that you had to go through that, because everyone was going through it. So it's all good. Yeah.
I think we can now transition into something that Bernie and you have planned.
Yeah. So we have planned a game of rapid fire between the current Seki and the ex-Seki.
Okay.
So, Bunny.
So welcome to the quiz Battle of the Sekis, past versus present. Let's see how it goes. The first question, Dhruv is gonna kill me for this. Who is known as the father of computers? Option A, Bernie Thorpe. Pretty good answer, I'd say. Option B, Blaise Pascal. Option C, Alan Turing. Or option D, Charles Babbage. Show your answers. What have you chosen? Show me also.
Charles Babbage.
Okay, D. I was hoping everybody would. Okay, it's okay.
Bernie Thorpe. I thought about it, but then I was like, you know what?
Let's move on to the second question. What is the name of the first computer programmer? Option A, Ada Lovelace. Option B, Guneet Kaur, very good programmer. Option C, Grace Hopper. And option D, Alan Turing. I'm pretty sure you guys have got it. Okay.
It's actually cool. Like, draw those Guneet right over
Yeah,
there.
there's Guneet right there. I didn't even notice.
Black and white.
I mean, A for effort, you know.
That actually should be B only.
You know what? Yeah.
Okay. Next one, we'll move on to question number 3. Two people co-founded Apple in 1977, Steve Jobs and who is the second person? Ronald Wozniak, Richard Wozniak, Steve Wozniak, or Nishant Wozniak?
I sure hope it was D, but I don't think so. It's D.
All right.
We'll wait for Nishant Wozniak. He's almost dressed like Steve. But
Yeah, he is. Okay. Google is a subsidiary of which company? Option A, CDGC. Option B, Alphabet. Option C, Grammar. Or option D, Punctuation.
it's gotta be grammar,
All right.
you know. Got it.
Okay. Now the next question is Kaggle. Everybody knows this, I guess. The data science company. Kaggle is a subsidiary of which company? Now this is where it gets difficult. Option A, Combo, the pet market wala Combo. Option B, Google. Option C, Meta. Or option D, Microsoft.
You know what? I can't give a. It's a very difficult question actually, because
I'm not sure.
you know what? I'll go ahead with. Should I? Okay, I'll go ahead with B.
Okay, I can see the bias there.
I meant to put D, but then C now. Damn it.
All right, I'd like to tell you all the correct answer is Google.
That was actually my first thought.
Okay. Now, the last question. Mozilla Firefox was originally launched under what name? Option A, Mozilla Phoenix. Option B, Mozilla Firefly. Option C, Mozilla Anna. Or option D, Mozilla Bluebird.
Why do you have this question?
They were so nice in the beginning, and now it's just like
really easy and like.
they make me look stupid now.
I had to do something. Okay, so what's your answer?
No, the easiest way to go would be.
What is your answer? A. So the past Seki has won the quiz, I'd say.
Thank God.
That is the correct answer.
Wow. Okay.
We still have a lot to learn from him.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. It was a lovely podcast.
बस सर इसी खुशी में पार्टी.
Yeah.
Yes.
Concluded. Round of applause.
Are you guys expecting a party after this by any chance? If yes, then I'm ready for it because the number of people is less. So it's easy on my debit card, not